Shalom, today is February 18th. We're in the 135th day of the war between Israel and Hamas. I've been traveling. I'm on the way with my husband to NRB, which is the annual National Religious Broadcast Convention in Nashville. But here I am on the way at my parents-in-law's house. Usually I am reading the newspaper, reading the major headlines, giving you the stories of the day in Israel. But here we'll try to give it to you through the online versions of these websites. And usually my professional cameraman is with me, but here my dear father-in-law will be taking this film, and we'll see how this goes. We'll give it a try. So we're in here in the Haaretz online newspaper, and we're reading Hayom ה-35 למלחמה, the 135th day to the war. And it reads, Netanyahu accepted the position of Ben Gvir. Ben Gvir is a right-wing Knesset member, to prevent the entrance of Arab-Israeli Muslims to go up to the Temple Mount. We're speaking about the Ramadan holiday, the Muslim holiday that's happening next month. It's a big month. Many people think it will stir up or escalate things. But actually the forces, the security forces like Shabak, say, no, it's going to be okay. And actually they're suggesting to Netanyahu to permit the entrance of Arab men above 50 years old, 60 years old, and Arab women above 50-year-old. Let them come in, let them pray in the Temple Mount during this holy month of theirs, one of the major holidays they have during the year. But Ben Gvir, the far right-wing Knesset member, suggested to not allow them to go in because it cannot be, he says, that we have hostages in Gaza and we're allowing Muslims celebrate their holiday in the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. So Netanyahu accepted Ben Gvir's position. The next headline is about medications to the hostages that were sent into Gaza by the UN, but they were never actually passed on to the hostages. It says Tzahal, the IDF, pirsem tmunot, revealed photographs of these medications. These medications were found in the Nasser hospital in the Gaza Strip in Khan Yunis, and we see names and pictures of the Israeli hostages on them. Amongst these names are Ada Sagi, Yafa Adar, Tamar Metzger, Family Rose. These ladies were released in November with the hostage exchange deal, and also Chaim Peri, Family Rose, and Yosef Chamis, and these guys have not yet been released. So according to the IDF, these packages of medication that were found were sealed, were closed, and they were never passed on to the hostages. The IDF announces that until now, hundreds of terrorists and suspects in terror that were hiding in the hospital, and some of them were even part of the October 7th massacre. And the IDF continues to say that before they went into the hospital, the battles were fierce, the terrorists were fighting, the terrorists were just really working hard on keeping the hospital in their hands, under their control. But the IDF conquered this hospital, thankfully. We see a lot of ammunition in the hospital together with those medications. The next headline is a quote actually from the Washington Post saying that Iran is warning, or has warned, Hezbollah, that's the terror group in Lebanon, not to give Netanyahu a reason to expand a full-blown war in Lebanon. So apparently Iran feels this is not the right time and is asking Hezbollah to keep it cool. It's not strategic for them apparently, and we'll see what happens the next few days because Israel is planning to be prepared for war. The next is about Sinwar, the head of Hamas. It is the Minister of Defense, Yoav Gallant, in Israel, that says Hamas is actually looking for a replacement for Sinwar. The international group of Hamas cannot communicate with the Hamas in Gaza, which Sinwar is leading. And it looks like the Hamas under Sinwar is just falling apart. There's not much left under their control. Lots and lots of terrorists are just giving up. They're found with ammunition and weapons, but in the moment of truth, confronting IDF soldiers, they're just choosing to raise their hands, to submit, to surrender, rather to fight, because they realize it's or surrender or die. There's no third option. And they're saying that the Hamas, international Hamas, is looking for a replacement for Yahya Sinwar. And as a continuation to the last headline about the Nasser hospital, we're getting more details here, saying that in addition to fierce fighting, there were 200 terrorists that just surrendered and gave up, and dozens of terrorists in Amel hospital as well in the same area. I moved on to Yediot Achronot, online newspaper right now, and it's a major story here too, how the Minister of Defense, Yoav Gallant, is saying that Hamas is basically defeated in Khan Yunis. What's only left is Rafah, mostly Rafah. And he says, this proves that the Khan Yunis brigade of Hamas is defeated and the terrorists are afraid to fight. He says that the IDF is what stands between completely demolishing Hamas or just, allowing them to have some sort of military capabilities. He says there are 6 more battalions to defeat, and we will defeat them. I guess he's speaking of the ones in Rafiah and Rafah. He says we have no right to stop as long as we have 134 chatufim bashetach. Chatufim are hostages. Bashetach is in the field, on the ground. Whoever is asking himself, Ma'osim, what do we do? So first of all, this pressure, he says, in a direct or indirect way, is going to bring eventually to the return of the chatufim, the hostages. So these are the major stories here in the Hebrew websites online. I plan to continue to update you as we travel to what's the largest Christian media summit in the world. And we'll see you soon again. This is Rotem Magen for All Israel News.